Hello gamers! Today I would like to explain a couple things about the upcoming Bronzebeard Warcraft Reborn server. As you might be aware, it's coming this Friday, which is next week from the recording of this video. And basically I would like to make a quick short video about the basic mechanics that are not so obvious to the most players that are coming from regular World of Warcraft. They're pretty intuitive in AscensionWoW, but you might be a little bit confused or missing out on a couple of things that are really good to know. So, this is my character on the test realm, which is currently on, that you had to either pay for access or get a code to get in. So let's hop on and see what's up. Now, before you panic about my UI, don't. It's I disabled all of my LVI things, so it looks more like UI that you would be able to use or normal use. So, a couple things first. I'm a shaman. If I press N, which is I believe that's the default key binding for talents. We're gonna disable sound real quick. Yep. Okay. So you have your talents pane. As you can see, this is your elemental enhancement restoration. In my case, in your case, it could be something else. You can open this pane at any level, even level 1. You will be able to preview your talents a little bit. I think the tooltips are disabled at like level 1, but at level 10 they start appearing. You can preview all your spells and when they are available. For example, Hex, Fire Elemental Totem. I'm level 57 right now, so I don't have access to those yet. For example, Bloodlust at level 60, or Heroism, whichever faction you are in. Okay, so that's the first page. Second page is the vanity tab. This is all of your transmogrification stuff, cosmetic items, items that are supposed to help you in your thing. For example, I have here a couple of pets that I have gotten throughout the game, but that's not very important. But what is important is toys. I think they're counted as toys, or maybe as pets. Let me figure it out real quick. Here, Books of Ascension and Book of Artisans. So basically, on Ascension, if you played previous servers, you know, but if you never played Ascension, it might be confusing to you to see that some people are running around with the Books of Ascension. It's a special pet that allows you to train your skills without going to class trainer, right? And any player can join and walk up to you and use your pet for that same purpose, so you can share it. I have a couple different ones because I was playing different leagues of Ascension: Ruthless, Wild, Reborn. Some of them were bought, I think, and some of them were gotten for free. That doesn't matter. Book of Artisans, I believe that one is gotten from the donation shop. This one, in return, allows you to learn any profession wherever you are and train the basic recipes. None of the high tier recipes. Those are PvP stuff. But this is just basic recipes that you will find at the vendor normally. Now, okay, so with this out of the way, there's a couple other pets that you can get. For example, auto skinning pets. But they have a downside, as in you don't get additional XP for skinning, which you would get otherwise, but they're faster, so it's a trade-off. It's not the perfect solution. Now, we have this. Secondly, mounts. Well, when you're starting at the starting zone, I'm gonna hop on the level 1 character real quick. You'll notice some people will already drive around on mounts at level like 2, I think. So to not get confused, after level, I believe 6, there's a short quest line that requires you to talk to a riding trainer. Let's open this character. Open the riding trainer, and he will give you a short quest that you have to talk to. You have to open basically a mount pane and just mount up, and that's it. That's the quest done, and you will have your mount at level 5 or 6, something like that. Now, since this is not a new character, I believe I have access to mount. Do I have? Yes, I have access to a couple of the mounts that I achieved before. This is from Ascension, for example, riding turtle, or this one that was... Okay, on level 1, it tells me to need to learn the riding skill first. I believe they changed it recently that you cannot straight up mount at level 1. You have to get to like level 5 or something. So keep that in mind. Be on the lookout on the riding trainer. It might be by the front gate of the storing zone, I believe, because they changed it recently. Okay. Another part. What about my talents? How do I respect my talents? Let's say you miss talent, you want something, you want to try to something else, basically. Well, there's a couple solutions to that. You cannot just go to the class trainer, talk to the trainer, and respec. That's gone. But there's different ways, and I'm gonna explain them real quick. Basically, what Ascension done is they introduced runes of Ascension. And runes of ascension are like the resource that you can spend on a couple different things that are very important for progression, but they're not that difficult to get. For example, if you open your character pane again, you look into currency, you have your rune of ascension here, right? Won only by your deeds, these runes power your progression and customization, gather them in abundance from all your adventures. And it's true, you get it from basically everything you do in Ascension. You get those runes. You get it from PvP, you get it from regular questing, you get it from completing dungeons, a bunch of other things. But it takes quite a while to amass a lot of them. Why do we need a lot of them? Well, you don't really need that much, but it's nice to have them. And why? Well, if you open your talent book, let's say I want to respec all of my stuff. Click reset. It costs 2,280 runes of ascension. I have 2.3k, so I can just afford it. Boom, okay, we're now unspec'd. We have no talents at all. I can choose restoration, element, or whatever. Their own talent calculator is pretty cool, pretty nifty stuff actually, because you can choose different stuff, right? I'm just clicking at random, don't worry about it. And you can even place things, so it will not let you to progress in the tree too fast, right? But it's pretty self-explanatory once you play around with it a bit. Don't be afraid to experiment, because early on respeccing is pretty free. It's like one quest gives you like 250 runes of ascension, when respec is gonna cost you like 500, so it's very affordable. Don't worry about it. What you don't want to do is try to respec or change stuff in your build when you have no runes, because then you will be heavily taxed in gold, like actual real gold. So don't do that. Go out and farm those runes. I will explain how later. Now, another feature of Bronzebeard, the Mystic Enchants. This is bread and butter of your character. This is where you, like, if you played Wrath of the Lich King before, because don't get it twisted, this is not classic vanilla server. This is Wrath of the Lich King base with Wrath of the Lich King talents slightly adjusted, and on top of that you have the entire glyph or enchant system that's way more expanded than what it was in Wrath of the Lich King. So, if you know anything about Elemental Shaman, this is what my things do. Removes the cooldown, chain lightning, but reduces damage. Well, why is that good? Well, because chain lightning, it's pretty hard already, so you can spam it now. You can add more targets to it. You can do like additional proc that does small hits of lightning damage when you're using lightning damage. Ungrounded gives you more mana, so Elemental, for example, has this problem that they go out of mana really fast. So you can use this to fix that mana. Booming Thunder, this is another thing to give you more damage from Earthshock, for example. So all of the things you mix and match to make your thing according to your playstyle, you know. Of course there will be always meta choices, like stronger choices or weaker choices, but for example, as an Elemental Shaman, I can go really hard into Flame Shock, right? Like, look at this glyph of Flame Shock. This is a very basic glyph, 60% of crit strike damage, but I believe there is also this one. No, not this one. One of those. Let's search Flame Shock. Ascending Flames. Initial damage of Flame Shock is increased by 80% when cast on a target already afflicted by it. So you can heavily spec into spamming Flame Shock. And you would think, well, Flame Shock doesn't hit that hard. Well, if you combine all of those things, my Flame Shock ended up critting for as much as Lava Burst. So it actually adds up really nicely. But that's besides the point. There's a bunch of combination, like all of this stuff. It would take me a couple hours to explain a couple of the fun, interesting combos. What you know, from example, a couple specs have things. Where is it? I have it somewhere. Carnage Incarnate. Deranged Druid, it's called. I know for sure. At least it used to be. Hope it's not removed. Never mind. Anyways, there was one of those legendary effects that makes you 15% chance to cast another spell while you're casting different spell, and it worked in the feral form, it worked in the bear form. So for example, you're swiping and you get bark skin procs, or you're in a cat form and you're swiping and you turn into prowl into invisible form, and you can, for example, ravage from behind or pounce or whatever you want. So it's pretty cool stuff. Anyways, that's besides the point. But we need to know, for replacing enchants, modifying all of this, right? Basically modifying all of this takes runes. Runes of Ascension, right? I spent all of mine at to respec my character, right? So now I don't have anything. If I tried to enchant my stuff again, which I can do using altars, those are also one of the convenience items. Sometimes people can place them, just like I'm doing right now. You can place those altars and then you can toy with your enchantments. Right? It's the same pane, but now you can reforge a scroll, Mystic Scroll. You can make a new one, which is blank. Right? It's empty. It costs 10 silver. But now reforging would take you 30 gold. I can do that, but a single reroll with Runes of Ascension costs only 250, which is very easy to get. Now, let's say I wanted to change some stuff around, right? Let's say I'm bored of this, it doesn't work for me very well. I found this scroll somewhere in the wilderness, right? It can drop from like rare enemies. It can drop from I believe there's like hidden pos where you just click and you find it. It's usually like regarding the legendary effects, it's usually like a small RP element to it. For example, one of the elementals is being, you know, like tortured by dragonkins in a certain place, and you have to kill basically kill everybody in there, right? And you loot flame ascendants from there. Anyways, let's say you have the scroll already, right? You can just replace it, and there you go. It's now changed. I now have ability to air ascend, right? There you are. I'm an air ascendant right now. Okay, so this is how to work with the enchants. The one funny part is if you have, let's say, an itemized version of an enchant, you can replace it anywhere you want. You don't need the altar, but if you want to, let's say, clean a slot or replace it with something that you have in your collection already, then you have to use the altar. But that's for later. Alright, so now that we have figured out the enchant system, oh yeah, the enchant system comes at play at around level 15, I believe. You get your first one, or level 10, one of them. You get a small quest pop up and you can choose one of the small selection. Now, a very important thing that I personally missed, but you might not miss it, or maybe you watched this video and now you know. First part, where to get the runes. If you go Path of Ascension, I see that default key binding might be Shift J, but you know, it depends. But it should pop up on your UI automatically. You have a bunch of shit here that you can collect. For example, collect transmog appearances. I've done the requirement. Boom, it's collected. Create an outfit, collect. Now I have 2000 runes of ascension. Very nice. I can show the rerolling now. So for example, a couple of the enchants are available in the world randomly, right? But if you're feeling lucky, you can roll for something nice in the altar. See, 250 reforge. Normally this will be empty, but you will click obtain unimbued mystic scroll. This creates an empty item in your inventory, and now you can reroll it. Rerolled once, I got something for druid. Reroll again. Epic enchantment for druid, I have it already. A new one for druid. I'm getting very druid lucky, I guess. Something for rogue. Something for mage, and so on, right? As you see here, there's a level. It's filling up. If you mouse over it, it says exactly what it does. When you level up, you get one of those mystic extracts. This one allows you to store. For example, I got this one, right? Let's say I want to save it for future because I want to play druid as the my next character, and I don't know where to find this exact enchant, right? I can just save it to collection. Boom, the scroll gets consumed, and this one goes to your collection. You can choose it anytime you want. It just costs a hefty amount of runes of ascension to apply, but it's always there with you. No matter what character, it's full account bound, right? Cool, very nice. What else? Another source, very good source actually, of runes of ascension is, and gear as well. This is very important. The callboard, command board, warchief command board, or I'm not sure what's the alliance version called, but there's also a neutral one. Here you have a bunch of daily quests, a bunch of weekly quests as well, I believe. For example, PvE, dungeon diving, right? This one I think starts being available at like level 50 or something. Any single dungeon you do will give you 1500 runes of ascension, which is very good, right? You can also just pay up gold, and it also gives you the same reward and bazaar tokens. I didn't dabble with that system yet because it's frankly new-ish for me. So I'm not sure what's the exact rates, but I know people play with those quite a lot. So let's say finish it with the gold. Normally this is not worth it, but let's say I'm missing a little bit of cash progress. Let's do another one. Okay, I finished my cash progress, and I received a bag with the item. Let's find out what it is. Oh, Zulian Stone Axe. It's a 200. Looks pretty cool actually. 200 axe with agility and crit. It's pretty nice for, I guess, 200 enhancement shaman. So yeah, that's how you use this thing. As you can see, now I have a bunch of runes of ascension again. There's a lot of stuff here. Don't be afraid to check. For example, last time I had a cooking daily quest that you could repeat, and it was like a level 20 cooking recipe, which required like wolf meat or something, and it was super cheap and easy to make, and it's sold on auction house for a bunch of gold. So don't be afraid to check what's currently selling here, because it might be a very good gold maker for you. Keep that in mind. Like, yep. There's also rewards for doing PvP. I don't really dabble with it. I know they want to rework it. I'm not sure how far is that in the works, but definitely keep an eye on it. Anyways, that'll be mostly it for now. Here you have a couple NPCs that are pretty important to the entire Ascension thing. First one, Guardian of Time. This one is like a vendor of stuff. He sells heirlooms. Like, as you can see, a bunch of runes of Ascension are required to buy them. But, warning, you can only use heirlooms after you have a level 60 on your character. So you cannot, on your account. So you cannot deck yourself out with heirlooms at like level 1. Besides, getting this much runes will take you quite a lot of time. Chromie. Well, this character is pretty fun. This NPC. It's a NPC that lets you reset your progress from level 60 to level 1. Gives you quite a large XP boost. And then, when you hit level 60 again, you get large sum of runes and prestigious cash, which is equipment. So you can basically hit like level 60 back to back and back to back on release and deck yourself in good gear, or decent gear, if you're lucky. There's a bunch of cosmetics as well, which is also pretty nice, like this set. Alright, it's one of the later, I believe, Siege of Orgrimmar or something. As you can see, I'm wearing CM Glaive as a shaman, right? The rules of transmogrification on the server are pretty loose. You have entire collection of stuff. It's like 140 pages of items, including incarnations for your ghost wolf form, for your druid forms. For example, you can have Saberin form, which is, I don't think it's even available in retail. A bunch of cool stuff. I would really invite you to check it out for yourself. Bunch of item sets that are either from older expansions or even from newer stuff. Straight up backported from retail. All of it is either obtainable on the web shop, or some of it is obtainable by Bazaar, which you will discover later in the game. But that's basically it. Those are the main things that I wanted to cover. So I hope to see you in on the release of the Bronzebeard, and let's have some fun. Don't be toxic. Don't be farmed by the high risk players grouping S5 and ganking people. Oh, one more thing. One last thing that I should cover. In the starting zone, there should be NPC. No, this guy. This guy in the starting zone. He will allow you to take on a challenge that basically transforms your gameplay a bit. You know, the popular hardcore challenge. If you die, you die, or it's dead, you have to start over. Adventure mode. This makes the game really difficult, but I heard it's super fun and as a group, like couple players together. There's just so many. Look how many there is. Like let's read up on this one. Mega Spellbind Roulette. Mega Curse hangs upon you. Every 3 seconds one of your skills will be marked for that. Using it will instantly kill you. Well, yeah. It's pretty goofy, right? But I think it could be fun. Iron Man challenges. What else? So many. Oh, Nightmare. Nightmare challenges basically. You take a fuck ton of damage, and if you get the level cap, you get a bunch of stuff. Like a pet, some transmogrification stuff. So yeah, you get the idea. Oh, Resolute mode. A bunch of people was asking about this, I think. This is for people that they want to just play at their own pace, right? And they don't want to bother with XP boosts, auras, stuff like that. You can just apply Resolute mode. It will put you at no extra modifiers outside of rested XP. So there's that. Because on Ascension, as you can see, Aura of Experience, you can purchase either on auction house or from the shop. You can purchase XP buff. This one applies to entire party. You can also buy potions that work for like 2 hours, so massive XP boost. So yeah, not everybody wants that. Some people like the fast leveling so they can get to endgame quicker. Some people want to blast the prestigious real fast. And obviously those XP buffs, they will not be available on launch. This is only gonna be available after, I believe, the world first on all classes combinations get hit. I'm not exactly sure, but they're not gonna be available at the launch. So yeah, basically that's, I think, all that I wanted to cover. Oh yeah, one more thing. There's so much things to cover, honestly, but it's probably best that you know this. Regarding the Mystic Enchants, you have a lot of those. They have different qualities. From uncommon doesn't really exist, but rare, epic, legendary, artifact. Legendary, artifact, and epic. I think all of them have a predetermined spot where they spawn in the world, right? They have a spawning either monster or a place or a little small quest line that you have to do or something like that, right? But rares usually they either drop from like random dungeon stuff, but if you're not sure where, you have to check your class trainer. Your class trainer will have a bunch of those. Quality rare. For example, you might recognize some of those. They look like the ones that you could find on Wrath of the Lich King, right? Some of them are just straight up that. Cooldown on Fire Nova, right? I believe that was an enchant in Wrath of the Lich King glyph. But there's a couple that are a little bit different. For example, some of those called crossover talents, like this one, for example, they let you to take talents from another tree. For example, if I'm an enhancement, at level 60, your last talent point will be this. You cannot pick sub-tree without sacrificing this, right? So, the way Ascension solved this, they allow you to have a couple glyphs that will allocate one of those talents for you, right? If you're an enhancement shaman and you're this far here in feral spirit, you can get a crossover that gives you elemental focus for the clear casting, and it's actually pretty powerful. I used it on restoration. I was really deep into restoration tree, right? And I had crossover for clear casting, and I had really cheap healing spells because I could guarantee a crit with lava bursts, right? So for example, my rotation would look like flame shock, lava burst, then I would cast healing rain. Healing rain gave me back mana, and that was the nice loop, like AoE healing while doing some damage. That was pretty fun. So yeah, I highly recommend you to, when you hop on Bronzebeard, just literally get on the class that you want to play, right? For example, you choose Shaman, right? You press N, you go to the Mystic Enchant, and look here. Look what is gonna be possible for you to find. Check your class, yeah, that's Shaman, and you have 8 pages of different enchants that you can all read up on. Make a good decision what you want to play, what you want to build, because some of them are ridiculous, like which one hit me hard? I liked Resurgent Waves. This one was pretty cool for a Resto Shaman. Healing Rain restores base mana, coupled with, well, you guessed it, Healing Rain, right? This is a legendary enchant. It feels very well for dungeons. It made a very fun gameplay. There's different ones as well. Cloudburst Totem, this is an ability backported from future expansions. I believe that was a Pandaria ability. So all of this is here. Just get on and look. For example, Enhancement Shaman in Bronzebeard can be a tank, right? So you have a Mastery legendary enchants. Those are pretty basic. They don't have as interesting effect. They just make you do whatever you do better, right? But if you want to go further, you can get stuff that completely modifies your stuff. So this one makes your Wind Fury hit extra times, right? And changes your Lavalash into a completely different ability altogether. There's, I believe there was one. Or, oh yeah, this one. So when you have this one equipped and you have a shield, you can basically turn into a literal tank as an enhancement shaman, and they're really good actually. It's not a joke. They have 3 good walls. They're very solid tanks. So yeah, they can straight up, those enchants can straight up modify your gameplay and what you do, and make you angle more into what you want to do. For example, you can be a Resto Shaman that heals tanks better, or you can be a Resto Shaman that does raid healing. Just an example, right? So, don't be afraid to check your options, check different classes. Perhaps you like something that you never, for example, I never wanted to play a priest, right? But I've seen the Discipline Priest and the Holy Priest here, and they can be a DPS specs, and it looks really cool and actually performs pretty well. So don't be afraid to sometimes just hop in. As an example, I can go warrior, right? And you see gladiator stance using your shield to DPS, which is cool as hell. I was considering playing that. I never tried it yet, but I might play this. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the release. Let's hope that the servers do not blow up and everything goes smoothly. And see you in game, gamers.